Attack of the cows. Oh, there's one having a poo over there. Hello, this is Sophie Lawson from SophieLawson.com. And this is this is episode 209 of the Sophie Art Podcast, which is a little podcast that I do about the art and things. And this one, well, it was supposed to be an art one today, but well, hopefully it's not too windy. That's the thing, it's very windy today, freezing. It's a nice day, but it's a bit cold, so my fingers are getting cold here. But I'm walking around Saltrum, which is the local woods, and instead of doing a podcast about the art fundamentals of colour, I'm going to do one. I was going to call this one Sod This, but I don't know. This is going to be very much a brain dump one. I haven't got any notes. I haven't even got an inspirational quote or nothing. But I've got a lot of things on my mind at the minute, and that's the thing. Well, sausages. I don't know why, I just thought about sausages. I've been reading this book. I just started reading a book yesterday. I'm only a few pages in. It's called The Art of Love. No, The Art of Loving, I think. It's either The Art of Loving or The Art of Love. Something like that. I just started reading it, and the author says she thinks learning how to love, well, she says that love and being able to love and stuff is like an art form. And something she said on it which really resonated with me was, she said there's two bits to learning art. She said, one, you got to master the theory. Nice little flowers here. This is the thing I love about this time of year. The flowers start to come out. So all the trees are starting to come to life again. Because it does, when the trees have got no leaves on them, it does feel very sort of sad, really. I know it's only a phase, but I love seeing trees with leaves and stuff. And it's quite nice this time of year, like the transition. There's something quite nice about that. What she said was, this author, firstly you got to master the theory, so you got to become a master of the theory. But she said that's not enough. You've also got to become a master of the practice. So you can't become a master of an art without doing both of those, which is something I've been thinking about that a lot. But the way she said it was so sort of like concise. You got to become a master of the theory and a master of the practice. Now she also said something a little bit later on, like a few lines later, where she said there's also another third part of it, which is putting everything into it. In other words, you've got to put all your focus into it. You can't become a master of something unless you've put all your focus into it. And like she's talking about relationships and stuff like that, but she's using the example of, I'm trying my absolute best to cover the microphone, but the wind is really icy cold today. Crows are cool as well, aren't they? Little crow sat in the tree up there. Oh yeah, you can watch this as a video if you want. If you go to the website SophieLawson.com, you'll be able to see show notes, and there's a video in there and that. So, but I always say hopefully these are good enough without the video. So, what's it? Oh, what was I talking about then? That happens quite a lot to me, that does. that goes into something else actually, the food you eat. The food you eat, I've found out something this week, that the food you eat affects your memory. So once I get away from the water, I think the wind will be much better. But what was I talking about just then? Oh, yeah, focus, that's it. How funny is that? I lost my focus. She was talking about this focus, and I thought, hey, that's the magic ingredients, really. Because like she's saying, some people get into a relationship, but if they don't focus on the love, then the relationship will fall apart. But basically, it's also it's art. All art is like that. So I thought to myself, well, the reason I got quite good at realistic pencil drawing is because I learned the theory. I also did the practice, but the main thing was I was focused on getting good at realistic pencil drawings, and I also focused only on realistic pencil drawings. So I wasn't trying to do other things like colour and all the rest of it, which is quite interesting. Because like learning these art fundamentals, because I did study for the art fundamentals yesterday, and I learned quite a lot of things, but what happened was, as I was like studying, I just couldn't focus, because there's so much going on in my life and my mind at the minute that I just couldn't focus. And I started thinking to myself, is the reason that I haven't done much art over the last couple of years, is it literally just about focus? And the thing is, you can't focus if you've got issues, basically. Which it goes into a quote I remember. She didn't say it like this, but the premise of the quote, which was Leslie Sater from Artist Helping Artists podcast, she said something like, basically, if something's bothering you, if you sit down to do a painting and something starts bothering you, sort it out. So if you're sitting down and like the table leg's wobbly, spend 5 seconds to put something under the table leg to stop it wobbling, because otherwise it will distract you for the whole duration of the painting. So in other words, what that means to me is sort all your issues out at the start, so that when you sit down to painting, you've got an empty mind, because that's when you're at your best, when you've not got nothing there. But so what happened for me was, well, for me it all started in the end of 2014 really, is when I decided I was going to go again after my gender, like transitioning. And what it did was that became the focus. Once that happened, I then ended up going into like spiritual stuff. That became the focus. The last couple of years, all the stuff that's been going on in the world, that's become like the focus. So I'm still doing little sketches here and there, but I just haven't been able to sit down and focus. The other thing is, it goes into lots of things like the website, like the YouTube with all the videos. Like that is, to some extent, that is a distraction. Even though I am learning. I'll probably go a bit quiet in a minute, because I'm about to walk past some people. I'm going to do my best to just... what you want to do, right, is... This is quite interesting as well. In the mastermind group, I talked about... Doggy, hello! I talked about this mastermind group I joined with the SM podcast. It's been very interesting, because we've all been talking about quite personal things. What I've realised is, for me, everybody is struggling with the same issue. I don't know whether it is everybody, but I feel like it is everybody. And I think it's a collective shadow of caring what other people think about us. Now, one of the people in the groups started talking about how it's to do with when you're at school. Basically, we're brought into a society which sort of trains you, I would even say brainwashes you, to sort of care about what other people think about you. So it's almost as if we're being programmed at a young age to have this sort of complex about what people think about us. But what happens is, as you get older, if you go deep into this, which I have, you start realising it doesn't matter what anyone thinks. I'm going to go up here a little bit because there's too many people. I do get a little bit nervous with lots of people when I'm talking. There's some very interesting shapes in nature. That's what I love. I love the shapes of like trees and that. So what I'm thinking is, well, listen to this. This is where I've gone to. So I'm thinking, we've all got a shadow, which is stopping us from doing things. For instance, I don't know how long I've been saying this. I want to interview guests on the podcast, but there's a part of me that's scared of what people will think of me, and there's also so many fears about that. So what I've done is I've put too much attention on the fears. Instead of just doing it, I'm putting too much energy in the fears. But a large part of it is what people will think and stuff. But then I think to myself, well, going through my transition, that was all about caring what people thought about me, and I ended up in a place of suicidalness. But even though that was quite bad, to get to that state of suicide, it was the best thing ever, because I got to a point where I had nothing to lose, which is quite a powerful place really, because what it did for me was I was able to get to like an invincible state. I tell you something, my fingers are freezing out here. It's absolutely freezing. But the show must go on, as they say. So I've proven to myself many times that I can do things that, even this podcast I couldn't do it for it. Is it raining? I've got a feeling it's raining. Not sure. The sounds of nature. Who likes the sounds of natures? Right, I'm losing myself here. I'm going to get back onto it. Hey, a leaf just hit me in the head. I love it when that happens. Leaves. Beautiful dogs around here. Right, come on, focus again. Yeah, I guess one of my biggest, let's say, problems is focus. The thing with me is, once I focus on something, I'm really good at staying focused. My problem is the initial focus, I suppose. And another thing is, I don't know what to focus on at the minute. So I feel this is where I'm at. I feel like I want to stop doing everything well, basically it's my birthday on Sunday. So the day that this podcast goes out, it's going to be my birthday. And I guess what happens is when you're getting older, you do start thinking about things. And I'm sort of thinking to myself, is the things I'm doing what I want to be doing? And it is and it isn't. I feel like I'm spending way too much time making videos, and I would rather make less videos but better videos, like more sort of well put together videos and stuff. Also, the podcasts, really, I want to keep talking about what I want to talk about. So in other words, my main passion at the moment is spiritual things, or spiritual things. But there's a part of me that thinks, well, should I do more art stuff? Because I don't know. I guess the thing is, my heart isn't fully in the art at the moment. I suppose that's one thing. And the other thing is, so like I said, I've got lots of things I need to sort out in my life in a minute. And I feel feel like that's... Oh, this is... I just thought something. So in 2016, I think it was, that's when I remember saying to my sister, I'm going to stop doing my art for a bit and focus on basically my mind, because I feel like the mind is the foundation of everything. If you get your mind sorted out, everything else will come easy. But it's one of those like easier said than done. Hey, they've put barbed wire up over there. I was going to ask this. If you go out in nature a lot, have you noticed that they're chopping down a lot of trees? I don't know if it's just round here, but they're chopping trees down all over the place round here. They've chopped loads of trees down in the parks. And I just think to myself, why are they chopping down all these trees? And there was something over, because up by Plimbridge Woods, that's like a big forest. There was like a little board and it said we're doing something called culling or something, but they said that some of the trees have got an infection, so they're going around chopping all these trees down. But I don't know whether I believe that. It just feels to me like they're chopping trees down for the sake of chopping trees down. I would rather let the trees naturally like die and collapse rather than chop them all down. Because I remember a couple of years ago, you come down here to Saltrum. It was like thick and dense with trees. You couldn't see. Like for instance, at the moment, I'm looking through some trees. You can see like the field behind it. There was a time when you wouldn't be able to see that field because there was so many trees. So it's a shame because for me it takes away some of the sexiness of the forest, being in with all the trees. The cows are out, yay! I wanted to try and get some cows on the podcast, but I think they're at the other side of the field in a minute. Me and my mum were wondering this. The cows bite. So if you went to stroke a cow, do you think you'd be able to? We were going to, but I felt a little bit, I wasn't sure. So what's the other things I wanted to say? So at the moment I'm wondering, well, I think I've got to reset my YouTube channel. What I mean by that is, I've got a realistic pencil drawing video going up for the next 4 months or something. So I don't have to, that's already all scheduled. I think I'm going to do less art books. And I don't know, I want to do more. I don't know what I want to do, that's what I'm saying. So what I'm actually going to do is next week, because it's my birthday, I got the week off work. I'm actually on, Monday or Tuesday, probably Tuesday. I'm going to go for a massive hike into Dartmoor all on my own. I'm going to take a little book with me and a pencil and a pen, and I'm going to just write, what do I want? Because I haven't asked that for ages, and I know I need to do that. Hopefully the wind isn't affecting this, I really hope so. Hey, the cows are down by the fence. Might be able to get them on the podcast. So what I'm thinking is, I've got to ask what I want. In a strange way, I almost want to get rid of all my art books. I just want to get rid of them all. Because in a strange way, what's happened is my life has become about art books. I don't know how that happened. I love art books, I really do. But I can't spend the rest of my life just talking about art books. That's mental. But then the other thing is, if you haven't got a proper focus on drawing, you can't force it. It's something I remember Dave Crocker said once. He said, you know, if you don't want to do something, don't feel like you've got to do it because you'll end up hating it. So he said, what you do is you just let it come back to you. Yay, all the cows. Little cows. Little cows. Eating grass. I wonder if cows are happy. Da-da-da. Hello, lads. How you doing, lads? They're funny, aren't they, cows? Hey! Top of the morning to you. They're singing a little song, look. Moo! Woo! Oh, I love this. This is why I like coming outside in nature. It's cool, isn't it? Oh, I love this. Attack of the cows. Oh, there's one having a poo over there. I can hear that. I wonder if you heard that. It was like a... Some of these cows are covered in poo, I'm sure of it. It's like an all... Moo! Oh, hello. What happened there? Sound like an elephant. I think there's an elephant in there. It's madness. Oh, that's made my day. That's those cows. How mad is that? Bye bye. Oh, he looks cool. The one here, he looks really... I wonder if cows are friendly or not. God, they just stand around having a poo. Imagine that. Imagine if humans just walked around having a poo without sort of a care in the world sort of thing. Like, imagine if people just walked around pooing on the floor and left it there. It's quite sort of disgusting, really, isn't it? Oh, there's a little cow on his own over here. Wonder what's happened here. That's a bit weird. He's probably the one contemplating life. I'd imagine he's the enlightened one. A cow on his own. Hello. There's a little circle of, like, what do you call them? Tree trunks over there as well, which you can sit on. And I thought to myself, because me and my mum come down here on Mother's Day, I thought it'd be nice to sit there with a little campfire or something. So that's it, really. I do love studying art, that's the thing, and it was only I had the same feeling at the last time, which is I couldn't quite get my mind into study mode, basically. So I know that I've got to sort something out. So what I'm going to do next week is I'm going to ask myself, what do I want? Really think about it there. Da 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 dee 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 dee. Hey, there's some ducks around here. I'm going to go down to the ducks, see if they're out. Ducks are cool. What else is there then? I think that's it, really. Little birdies. it's just nice being outside, really. So I think my dream would be recording podcasts talking about spiritual stuff out in nature. And what else? What do I want? When was the last time you asked yourself, what do you want? There's a little robin in the tree as well. How cool is that? My little spirit animal just showed up. Hello. It's funny how the robin shows up at the right time, sort of thing. Little quacks. Hey, little duck's coming over to me. Little duck's coming over to us. Oh, he's going now. He decided again not. Oh, I learned something. The ducks with a green head are the males. The other ones are, if they ain't got a green head, they're females. So that's quite interesting. Well, I think that's it for this one. So the thing, really, all this one is all about is, I love being out in nature. I love doing the podcast. I love doing the podcast outside though, with nature. I think that's the secret. I think the secret is to spend your life doing things you love, but in a way that syncs up with, well, what do we call that? Like, for instance, the podcast. No, that's it. All it is do what you love every day. That's it, isn't it? And if you're not enjoying it or something, don't do it. It's quite simple, I suppose. Yeah, so that's it. This is what I'm thinking about then. So I'm thinking about the day job. Little doggy. Some doggies are funny, aren't they? They look a bit sort of, I'll say sort of like dopey, some dogs. A bit sort of stupid, in a good way, you know. That's why I like cats better, because cats are more sort of, like, what would I say? Cats are more like... Cats are more like the sort of animal that would become spiritual, whereas a dog is a more sort of an animal that would become a robot. That's what I think. That's why I like cats better. They're more sort of independent and stuff. So I'm thinking about the day job. I'm thinking about the direction I want the podcast to go in. I'm thinking about what videos I want to be doing, and I've even started thinking, do I even want to make videos anymore? I'm thinking about me art. Like, how am I going to get my art back on track? So that's why I started thinking, is the videos a distraction? Or is there a way to do the videos? And there is a way to do it, I know there is. But it all comes down to, you've got to enjoy it. You've got to enjoy everything you're doing. So I don't know, interesting. But that's the thing with birthdays. Oh, there's another thing I didn't even talk about, which is, so what happened was me, for the birthday, it caused a little bit of a kerfuffle between between me, my mum and my sister. It caused a little bit of a kerfuffle, and what it did, this is another good thing, because what happens is, sometimes something bad happens, but something good comes out of it. In fact, I would say that happens all the time. When something bad happens, you'll normally see that in the end it ends up being a much better thing. So for me, something really good did happen. So what happened was, me and my mum had planned to do something for my birthday, and then all of a sudden, at the last minute, my sister wanted to do something, and basically it was hard to get everyone happy and I was trying to get everyone happy, and in the end I said, you know what, sod it, I'm going to spend the day on my own. And then I thought, the next day or two, I thought, no, that's not very nice, is it? The best, perfect birthday for me would be to spend it with my mum, my sister and my niece. So I ended up sort of saying, look, can we try this? So what's happened now is we're actually going to all be together for my birthday. So it is going to be a beautiful birthday, but it would have been a beautiful birthday anyway. But the good thing now is, also what happened was, me and my mum had a very deep conversation, and I feel like it's going to actually, it might be a few challenging times ahead, but I feel like my mum and my sister are going to have a much stronger relationship now, because like everyone, we've all got, you know, things in our past that catch up with us, I suppose. So that's it. I think I don't know if you noticed this, but the world is at a crunch point, and it feels to me like we are all individually having to face our issues. Because I think what's going to happen is, I think if we die with unresolved issues, we're going to go like one way. If you've resolved all your issues, we're going to go the other way. And I think we're at a point now where the world or the universe or God or anything, whatever it is it's forcing us to face our issues. And we've got complete free will whether we do anything about it or not. That's what I'm thinking. So again, it looks like a bad thing because it caused a bit of a kerfuffle, but I'd imagine in a few, let's say, I don't know how long, but in the end, I think we'll look back and be like, oh, I'm so glad that, because what happened was, my mum said stuff that I hadn't thought about. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Like, until you listen to somebody, you don't really know why people do the things they do. And that's the problem. I think a lot of people, they don't listen to the person's side. So it's almost like people are getting brainwashed into believing a story about someone. But you've got to listen to the person yourself. That's the only way to really understand why people do things, because we all do silly things. Most of the time you realise, what's this here, look? Somebody's driving a tractor around here. Get off my land! Get off my land, my lover. Imagine if this little tractor driving down the road. Imagine if he like sort of lost control and went in the pond. It'd be quite funny, that, wouldn't it? It'd be funny, but not funny, if you know what I mean. That's it, though. And this is the thing. There's a very thingamajig going on here. Is, like, for instance, is the Earth flat or round? You're never going to know until you get into space yourself and have a look. It's the same thing with people. You know, if somebody does something, is it a good thing or a bad thing? You've got to listen, you've got to talk to them yourself. Make your own mind up. So I feel like a lot of people, we are all carrying baggage because we've got these fake stories about people, which, well, they might be true, but most of the time what I think is they're not actually true. It's almost like we are, and also maybe it was true at the time, but that person did that thing and they learnt from it, so they've changed, they've evolved. So very much like sometimes something bad happens and that bad thing happening helps the person grow, but the other person still thinks the person hasn't grown. So they're still sort of judging them and keeping them in the old state, which goes into that thing about, it's a psychological thing. This is incredibly sort of intricate and psychological. How we are all sort of we're all sort of changing reality with our mind in a weird way. So all you got to do is shift your shift your mind, you can change reality. This reminds me of what I was talking about at the start with the mastermind group. So what she said about you go to school and you're getting brainwashed and stuff like that. And I thought to myself, this golden age that they talked about, the ancient civilizations, like, what was it called? Oh, I always forget the name of it. What's it called? That one that... Atlantis. Like, they say that was like the golden age. Everyone's in peace and whatnot. And I thought to myself, is it possible we could have the golden age tomorrow if we got our mind... If I sort out my shadows and then I can do whatever I want without fear of what people think about me, what would happen is that would infect other people in a positive way, so that it would help them do it. What happens then is, in the end, the collective shadow of caring what people think would disappear. And I thought, is that actually what the golden age is? Is the golden age nothing but a change in the mindset of people? That's what I was thinking. So in other words, the golden age, which they say is coming back, all it is just nothing really would change apart from your mind. But because your mind controls everything, because this is like a mind-based simulation thing, because the mind is generating everything, change your mind, you change the world. Hey, I've just got an answer to something. Ducks can fly. There's a couple of ducks flying over there. So I asked a question last week, I think it was, if ducks can fly. That's cool. That's it then for this one. All the cows have vanished as well. So we got them just in time. I hope you enjoyed this one. I know these podcasts are very sort of weird, I suppose. Like, I look at other people's podcasts and they've got all structure and the thing like that. I don't get as much fun out of those with the structure. I like just being like pure, I suppose, spontaneous. But the thing is, I think there's a balance point where you can be spontaneous but also have structure. So I think sometimes I do go too far into the sort of no structure. I'd love to have one of these little things. He's got like a little buggy thing. Looks a little bit like Austin Powers at the minute, going back and forth. I'd love to have one of those. He's driving around the fields now. Cool, isn't it? You right? Da-da-dee. That's it then, I suppose. Again, it's all about balance. Everything's about balance. I'm too far. I've said to my mum the other day, I'm not in balance at the minute. Until I get myself in balance, I won't be able to do some of the things I want to do, I suppose. But I hope you enjoyed this one. All that's left is this week's inspirational quote, and I don't know what it is. So what's it going to be? I think this week's inspirational quote is going to be... What's it going to be? Hey, maybe it'll be what that lady said in that book. What she said was... No, see, I don't know what it was. It was something like, to master an art, you have to master the theory, and you have to master the practice. I don't know if I want that one. I think this week's inspirational quote is going to be... I'll tell you what it's going to be. Seagulls in the sky. It's cool, isn't it? It must be having fun being a seagull. Sydney!